Hey, this is day 4 of Slow Tea 101. So the tea of today is the Philosopher. It's a 2010 wild shampoo. This is how the cake looks like. Gonna get my usual 5 grams. Of course, I've been using 5 grams, but you are very welcome to use whatever amount. Some people even tend to use 3, but like between 4 to, well, like 5 and 6 is quite common. Some people use 5, some people 7, some people 10. Little bit depends how strong you like your tea. Little bit depends on on how sensitive you are to tea, on how much time you have. Anyway, so I'm using 5 for now, but keep in mind you can use whatever amount you like. Okay, so today I will tell you a little bit more about appreciating taste and aroma. Let's do my usual first tip. This water was about 90 degrees. So I did mention already at first that it's very nice to smell the tea from the guy on top. What I didn't say is you can also smell it from the pitcher once it's empty, and also from the cup itself. Generally speaking, a very good tea will leave much more aroma in the cup for sure, and in the other containers as well. The aroma will be stronger. Now, you probably might have noticed that there are a few basic characteristics to tea. So there is how bitter it is, how astringent it is, how sweet. Let's talk about this three first. So sweetness is quite obvious. There is the first sweetness as you drink it, and then there is also the returning sweetness, which is to say, I've drunk the tea, and then there is some, bitter left in the mouth, and that becomes sweet. So this is something that's very, very satisfying about tea, particularly about pu'er. In general, the quality of the taste left in the mouth is called aftertaste, and particularly the returning sweetness is called huigan. So that's so much about sweetness. Sweetness and aftertaste, both very, very good signs of tea. Let's see how this is. So as you drink, you can notice where does the tea go. A very good tea will go up on the touching the palate, and you don't need to swallow at all. This is going to go down by itself. A tea that's not so good instead will take, you will really need to swallow it. It might even make your throat feel a bit constricted. And then in case of this tea, I can see there is both sweetness, bitterness, and astringency, all of them. Now, to be clear, bitterness is kind of like a taste of imagine you're eating spinach. While astringency is more the feeling of imagine you've eaten a lemon, and kind of like this sourness, this kind of mouth puckering. Generally speaking, they're not the same thing. Often they go together, but actually recognizing which is going to be something that's really useful for your tea journey, and something that's really quite key. So generally speaking, bitterness is okay, while astringency is sign. Everything else equal is sign of not great tea. I'm drinking this quite fast because it's not very hot, but obviously don't think of trying, it might be a bit too hot, for in which case you're going to try and have just a sip. And to try and feel a bit more flavor, what you can do is you can, as you drink. So if you do that, the water will kind of be distributed more in the mouth, and you can feel different flavors. Now, I want to make one thing clear. This is not wine, so we're not trying to look for specific flavor, like, this is peach or hay or whatever. But we're more looking for kind of absolute flavor-independent characteristics. So yeah, sweetness, bitterness, astringency, aftertaste, thickness, so like how thick the tea is in the mouth. Yeah, and in general, while of course, like a part of drinking pu'er in this way is about appreciating whatever it is that ends up in your cup. There are many things that we can do with our brewing to make it. Fundamentally, we can make it. Any given tea can be made, a bit stronger or a bit less strong, depending on how you like it. and you will find that you have, while most people generally do not like astringency, some level of bitterness or intensity, it's something that's welcome. So yeah, as you drink today, you can try and think about all these different taste characteristics I just mentioned, and also how easily the tea flows in the throat. And you can compare this with other teas as well later on. And finally, you can also pay attention to how comfortable your throat feels or not. Everything else equal, a very good tea will means that your throat is completely relaxed, while one that's not as good means that your throat feels a bit constricted. Okay, that was the class for today. See you tomorrow.